Greetings, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another edition of Ranking the Albums. Today we're going to look at the studio catalog of a very cool band, pretty much a German band, although their lead singer is a British guy, pretty notable British guy, as a matter of fact, named John Lawton. John Lawton, who also sang for a little-known band named Uriah Heep for a few years, right? But Lucifer's Friend debuted back in the very, very early 70s, 1970 as a matter of fact, and were one of the kind of original, like, heavy rock bands. A band that doesn't get mentioned often enough, like when you talk about kind of like the birth of heavy metal. So, you know, people talk about Led Zeppelin and Deep Purple and Black Sabbath and Uriah Heep and Sir Lord Baltimore and Cream and Jimi Hendrix and so on and so forth. But, man, Lucifer's Friend were right there, okay? But probably because they were from Germany. Not as well known in other parts of the world, but you go back and you listen to those first couple albums, pretty heavy stuff. Pretty heavy stuff. Definitely should be in the kind of conversation talking about those proto-metal bands, right? So I'm going to rank their studio catalog. We got 10 releases in total, so we're going to kind of go from my least favorite to my favorite. I will say I like all these pretty much. You know, there's a couple of the ones that are going to be right at the bottom of my list are okay. Not quite as good, but pretty much the rest of them are all well worth checking out. So I'm going to start. The two I don't have, okay, are going to be at the bottom, actually. There's a reason. Well, they're hard to get, for one. And B, I was just never a huge fan of either one of them. So both of these albums, my number 10 is Good Time Warriors from 1978. So by this time, obviously, John Lawton had flown the coop and went to Uriah Heep. So he did 3 studio albums with Uriah Heep. So they brought in Mike Starrs, who sang vocals on those couple of Coliseum 2 albums. Okay, so Coliseum 2, you know, John Heisman, Gary Moore, Don Airey and company, right? That's kind of like that jazz fusion ensemble that was kind of like an extension of the original Coliseum band. So Mike Starrs sang for that band, came into Lucifer's Friend to replace John Lawton to kind of mix results. So Good Time Warriors, which is my number 10 pick, and then Sneak Me In from 1980 is my number 9. So both of those albums, I mean, they're decent enough. It's just, but there's like, you know, all the early Lucifer's Friend material, like I said, was pretty heavy and at times very proggy. Okay, and the Sneak Me In and Good Time Warriors albums, they kind of have this pop, soul, funk kind of thing going on. Not that there aren't good tracks on them, because there certainly are, and I think Mike Starr's vocals are fine. I always thought he was a pretty good singer. It's just that if you're used to like a band sounding a certain way and then all of a sudden it's like a complete about-face, it's a little jarring. So those albums are decent enough. Yeah, obviously, I never liked them enough to actually go and attempt to try and get them. But as a curiosity, kind of 2 curiosity pieces in the Lucifer's Friend catalog, they're of interest. You know, if you're a completist like me, you know, I'm surprised I actually haven't gone out to get these, but that just goes to show you that how, for me, without Lawton, it's like kind of hard to take, right? But not awful albums at all. There's some good kind of like funk rock and little bits of jazzy things going on. But they're both very poppy albums. That kind of that Lucifer's Friend thunder that you got from a lot of the earlier albums. And certainly that kind of adventurous songwriting, not really there. So let's fast forward to number 8. I'm going to go with, and of course I did not put these in order, I'm going to go with their most recent output because they are back. They're back as a band. They reunited a bunch of years ago. Black Moon, number 8 from 2019. Okay, so you got, you know, Lawton and company back, and I'll tell you exactly who is in the band at this point. So we do have some original members. Let's see here. Hold on. And am I going to need the old glasses? So you got John Lawton on lead vocals. You've got Peter Heslian, I believe that's how he says his name, on guitars and keyboards, original member. You've got Dieter Horns on bass and Stefan Eggert on drums, with a few other guys helping out on horns and reeds and things like that. Pretty strong album. I have liked the couple recent Lucifer's Friend albums. Very cool album cover with a nice kind of little nod to the original album. That's what I kind of like about some of these later period releases. Good songs on here. The title track is really good. Rolling the Stone is great. Palace of Fools, Call the Captain, Glory Days. It's just a good contemporary hard rock album done by veterans of the scene. So I enjoy Black Moon. Again, it's the most recent one, so it's not like I've had it for a long, long time, but I've enjoyed it quite a bit. All right, so next up, from 2016, Too Late to Hate. Basically, for the most part, the same lineup. Okay, delivering another great set of good melodic hard rock from, a classic band. Got Demolition Man, quite good. When Children Cry, Straight for the Heart. Don't Talk to Strangers. What's that other one? Sea Your Promises. Good stuff on here. It's good. Just really good, crisp, bluesy, heavy rock. Can't go wrong with it, right? Can't go wrong with it. If you're an old school Lucifer's Friend fan and you have not checked out the new stuff, I highly recommend it. Very, very solid. All right, so next up, from 1981, I'm going to go with Mean Machine. So here we've got Lawton is back in the band after those couple albums they did with Mike Starrs to kind of right the ship. And this, again, coming on the heels, the new wave of British heavy metal is all the rage right now. So the band decides, hey, we need to get heavy again. Forget those two albums that we did over the last couple of years. One Way Street to Heartbreak, Hey Driver, Fire and Rain. Okay, a pretty cool cover there. Mean Machine, Cool Hand Killer. What else? Let Me Down Slow. Here the guys even kind of looking the part. Fun album. Pretty good hard rocking album. But this would be the last we would, see from the band till way, way later, obviously, into the 2000s. So, surprised they didn't kind of try to keep on, continuing after this, because it's, that style of music was very popular at the time. So definitely one of their more rockin' albums in many years, up to that point. All right, so number 5, I'm going to go with 1976's Mind Exploding, which is this album right there. Okay, another cool mix of heavy rock and prog. Right around that mid-70s period, they're starting to incorporate lots of different elements into their sound. This is also a very strong album with some good extended pieces. You've got Natural Born Mover, Blind Boy, Moonshine Rider, Free Hooker, Yesterday's Ideals, The Fugitive, all really strong stuff. Good use of keyboards, lots of crisp, crunchy guitar work, and of course, John Lawton's amazing vocals. Man, can that cat sing. Whew, unbelievable. All right, number 4. From 1973. I'm just a rock and roll singer, babies. I always thought this was a pretty funny cover and back cover. Another pretty strong album. Again, showing the vocal prowess of Mr. Lawton. This one's more of kind of like a lot of good, kind of blues rock and boogie stuff going on in this album. This album is not quite as metallic and just really, lumbering heavy as as a couple of those earlier ones, but still some really strong stuff on here. You got the title track, Groove and Stone, Closed Curtains, all right, and Song for Louie, Lonely City Days. Good stuff. Definitely good stuff. All right. I kind of toyed around with the top 3. Because, and I was listening to this, the one that's coming in number 3 today, I was listening to this morning again, and, I listened to a bunch of these yesterday, and I was putting together my lineup here, and I'm like, all right, so I think I know how I'm going to put this. And then I listened to this one again this morning. I'm like, oh man, any day I could rank it even a little higher, but I'm going to keep it where it's at for today. Number 3, 1974 is Banquet. So this is basically Lucifer's Friend kind of big prog and jazz fusion statement. This is almost like Lucifer's Friend jamming with either, Ian Carr's Nucleus or Klaus Doldinger's Passport, right? So you got the heavy, real proggy stuff mixing with horns and reeds and, soaring pop melodies. It's a really unique and fun mix of styles that I think really, really works. This is kind of like the oddity in their catalog in that it doesn't sound like any other album, but that's the joy of it, and that's the greatness of it. It starts off with the Spanish Galleon, which is 12 minutes long. Amazing vocals from Lawton. And the song is so catchy, and there's the horns and the ripping guitar work and the cool keyboards. It's just an amazing, amazing song. So I'm telling you, if you've never heard Lucifer's Friend before, and you're more of kind of like a prog person, go listen to Spanish Galleon, Galleon. Trust me, you'll dig it. Thus Spoke Oberon, another really cool extended, near 7-minute long piece. Again, really catchy. Great instrumentation. High Flying Lady Goodbye is the only real short song on the album, under 4 minutes. And you got The Incredible Sorrow, another near 12-minute long tune. Amazing. Killer guitar solo. Just a really, really cool tune with great hooks. Again, very jazzy. This album is very jazzy, but it's got plenty of heaviness too. And then it finishes off with Dirty Old Town, which is about 5 minutes long. So just a really, really, and I love this album cover. And you know what? I'd love to have a shirt of this. I think I'm going to do a Google search and see if, because I don't own a Lucifer's Friend shirt. Would love to. All right, coming in at number 2. Again, this and Banquet probably could flip-flop at any given time because they're both amazing. What year was this? Did this come out in? 1972's, Where the Groupies Kill the Blues. And again, as you'll see in a minute, there's that familiar little twosome there, right? This is their second album. Still pretty damn heavy. Okay, because their first 2 albums are easily their heaviest. Here you got, basically, Lawton, Peter Hesslian, Peter Hecht on all sorts of keyboards, Dieter Horns on bass, and Joachim Reitenbach on drums. A lot of good stuff on here. You got Hobo, you got Rose on the Vine, Mothers, the title track, Prince of Darkness, No Reason to Rhyme, Delirium, Burning Ships. This is a good, crunchy, early 70s heavy rock album. Again, if you love the kind of proto-metal stuff, Budgie and Sir Lord Baltimore and Mountain and Sabbath and Purple and Uriah Heep and all that kind of stuff. Man, this album, and specifically the self-titled Lucifer's Friend album, there's that duo there, that creepy looking duo. This is number 1. Without a doubt, this is a cranking album. Go, if you've never heard. So here's 2 things. So I was telling you about the other song to go listen to if you've never heard this band. But if you like heavier stuff, especially like early 70s, early heavy rock, go and listen to Ride in the Sky from Lucifer's Friend. Amazing song. Everybody's Clown. Toxic Shadows. Babe, You're a Liar. What else? Jesus, the title track. Well, Lucifer's Friend, Rock and Roll Singer. All sorts of great stuff on here. Just a really good, heavy album with crunchy blues rock guitar riffs, molten blues rock guitar riffs, Hammond organ, and Lawton's wailing vocals. I mean, Lawton is like one of the most underrated singers ever. If you like that kind of, real husky screaming style, a la like Ian Gillan or early Klaus Meine from the Scorpions, man. Phew. Gonna love this stuff. Killer. I do want to mention, all right, so talking about how killer that album is, you also need to check out the Asterix album, okay? This is basically Lucifer's Friend before they changed the name and released that album. They did a bunch of recordings under the name of Asterix. It's basically the same band. This is also pretty much just as heavy as that Lucifer's Friend album. So it's Asterix. Okay? And some great stuff on here. Like I said, I would probably rank it just as high, or maybe a number 2, if I were to include it in here. And I also want to throw this one out, Lucifer's Friend Awakening. Okay, which this was actually the reunion CD, so this is basically like a compilation of some of their best tracks from early in their career with 4 new tracks. So this has, Ride the Sky, In the Time of Job, Keep Going, Toxic Shadows, Burning Ships, Fugitive, Moonshine Rider, Dirty Old Town, Fire and Rain, and Hey Driver. Those are all songs from early in their career, kind of like a little best of, so to speak. And then they did 4 new tracks, okay, which was Pray, Riding High, Did You Ever, and This Road, which are, very, very solid, and what is kind of like foreshadowing what was to come on the next 2 brand new studio albums. So there you have it. So coming in at number 1, we're going to go Lucifer's Friend. That's the one you need to check out first. Number 2, Where the Groupies Kill the Blues. Number 3, we're going to go with Banquet. Number 4, I'm Just a Rock and Roll Singer. Number 5, going to go with Mind Exploding from right there. Mean Machine, number 6. Number 7, Too Late to Hate. Number 8, Black Moon. Number 9, Sneak Me In. Number 10, Good Time Warriors. So there you have it. Make sure you go and check out the catalog of Lucifer's Friend, a very, very, very good band that doesn't get enough due. All right, favorite of mine, without a doubt. So check us out on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, of course, we're here on YouTube all the damn time. So coming up tomorrow, 2018 favorite album of the year, all sorts of other stuff happening this weekend, so you don't want to miss any of it. We got top 10 songs from Primal Fear. Jack Toledano's coming back on the show for that. Jason Tipton from 0 Hours coming on for an interview with yours truly. That's also happening this weekend. And what else? Oh, Martin Popoff's coming back on the show. We are going to give our top 10 songs from Badlands. So all that's happening this weekend, so you don't want to miss any of it. So stay tuned, and we'll see you guys then. Take care. Bye-bye.